Well, hello, everyone. Thank you for being with us today. I'd like to welcome each of you to another FranTastic InSights video segment whereby we introduce to you some very prominent personalities, all of whom are having a very positive impact on the ever-growing world of franchising. My name is David Craghead. I'm the Chief Franchise Expansion Officer for FranServe, and today I'll be your host for this week's FranTastic InSights segment. For the past 14 years now, FranServe has been recognized as the world's largest franchise consulting and expansion organization. We have a very simple mission, and that is we change people's lives in a very positive way. We do that through franchise ownership. And we do that also through a network of incredible franchise brands in 39 different industry categories. And our growth initiatives are supported by a growing portfolio of franchise consultants, all of whom are dedicated to helping their clients explore franchise opportunities which are deemed to be a perfect match for their individual search criteria. And today I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Tyler Howell. Tyler is the owner and general manager of the very popular, highly successful franchise brand known as Whole Property Management. Founded in 2015, with new franchise units being launched for the first time last year, Whole Property Management is a modern, tech-enabled property management franchise. They provide a full suite of tools for managing residential rental properties while helping their franchisees build scalable, home-based businesses with recurring month after month compounding revenue. That's very important. And so, Tyler, thank you for being with us today. We appreciate your time. And as I pass the microphone over to you, please, if you would, share your business model description and the latest perspective on the Whole Property Management franchise brand and your business model, please.
Yeah, absolutely, David. Thanks for having me. Wow, we're just very excited for a recent partnership with Loyalty Brands, which anyone in the franchise industry will know John Hewitt. So John Hewitt's one of the most prolific franchisors alive today, founder of Jackson Hewitt, which grew to thousands of locations, founder of Liberty Tax, which grew to thousands of locations, and now founder and CEO of Loyalty Brands, which has 8 different brands under it, pet services, financial services, and we are one of the newer members of this organization. And what Whole Property Management does is we manage residential rental properties for normal folks like you and me. And a huge amount of the rental stock in the United States is owned by normal people. They own 1 rental house or 2 rental houses. And in a kind of increasingly complex legal environment where we see more tenant landlord laws passed, we're seeing fewer and fewer and fewer of these landlords self-managing their rentals. They're handing them off to third parties to manage them for them. And that's what we do. So our original location here in Denver, Colorado, where I'm calling you from, manages almost 550 properties around the city. And we're growing quick because of the environment, the economic environment right now is so good for our business. But we've got a unique system at Whole PM. We call it the Whole PM system with a capital S. But it is a unique way of structuring your business, a unique tool stack and tech stack that we've identified and secured for our new franchisees that allows us really to do 2 things that make up the Whole PM identity. Our corporate identity is allowing people to build a business with a extremely low overhead with a very large profit margin. So when you look at our overhead, we're not paying for a lot of things that you're encountering in other businesses, like expensive equipment, or vans and trucks and brick and mortar. Everything is very low overhead, and we're able to achieve 40 or even 50% margins, even at scale. So that's what we do. We're already rolling out new locations, trained a couple new locations in Virginia last week. So people are understanding that the economy is ripe for this. Fewer people are selling their houses. They're waiting the market out to sell later, and they're renting it out. So business is good. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you, Tyler. You mentioned your growth initiatives. How do you design and what metrics do you use to create your territories?
So our territories are going to be about 250,000 people. We work with each prospect to custom map their territory. And, our territories are a little bit arbitrary because a property management operation can serve a very large area. Whereas when we look at kind of some brick and mortar businesses, you're generally constricted to folks that are right around you because those are the ones driving past you or willing to come and patronize your business. But with Whole PM, we can have that franchisee, although they do have a protected territory, serve the whole metro area. So Atlanta, as far as it's practical to drive to these properties periodically that you're managing to get them listed, do a pre-move inspection, a post-move out inspection, our franchisees are actually going to be serving entire cities.
And the franchisees that you mentioned, how would you describe the perfect franchisee candidate? If we could find the right people for you, what would they look like? What characteristics would they have?
Well, our perfect franchisee is, and a lot of people think you really have to have real estate experience to do this, which you don't. Is it helpful? Sure. But I don't want people to be stuck on that. Some interest in real estate is good, but I think the number one trait that we look for is somebody who wants to be an owner operator, not somebody who wants to kind of buy the franchise and stand back and put other folks in place to do it. Because, first of all, we want that franchisee to really learn our business, become a subject matter expert. But having that person, that franchisee operate the business themselves day to day is what creates these huge margins that we're able to create. One of the unique things about us is we don't require or even encourage you to quit your 9 to 5 when you sign up to become a Whole PM franchisee. I personally, I was working a 9 to 5 in a cubicle when I started whole property management, and I ramped it up. And then I left my day job as soon as the revenue allowed me to. And that's what we've got some other franchisees doing, which is great. We encourage that. But somebody who wants to be the owner operator doing the work there on the ground until we get you to a door count where it's appropriate to start adding staff.
Very good. And as we bring new applicants to you, how would you describe the typical ramp up time for one of your new franchisees from signing the franchise agreement to the actual ribbon cutting of their business? How long does that take?
Not very long. The boxes that we've got to check are pretty simple in terms of, we can get all this done within the course of a month or even two. If somebody's in a hurry, we can check these boxes quick because we've got to get your business entity, your LLC set up. And then after that, it's 2.5 days of in-person training, either at our corporate headquarters in Virginia Beach or in Denver, Colorado, based on which is more convenient for the franchisee. And after that, it's a quick process because we're at that point simply getting subscriptions to our tech stack going. We're getting a business location identified, which we discourage brick and mortar offices. We like folks to start out really low overhead with a business address at like a UPS store where we get that stuff set up. So there's no reason that we can't have somebody from the time that they come in serious to talk about a Whole PM franchise to actually ready, ribbon cutting, signing on doors within 30 days is very feasible.
Okay, very good. You mentioned the classroom training either in Denver or Virginia Beach. What happens after they graduate? Is there any field training or continuing education?
Let me tell you that the 2.5 days of in-person is just the beginning. That's your intro to becoming a whole property management operator. There is ongoing support that we have a weekly support call, but we're available to our franchisees every day. So we're particularly in those first few months. I mean, it's feasible that we could have daily or near daily contact and support with folks while we're very hands-on with them, getting them up and running. But our support is, that's part of what we do indefinitely. When you sign on, this is not hey, you get trained for 2.5 days and good luck. We're here for you literally every day, supporting you, helping you grow.
Okay, thank you. A lot of our brokers are going to be watching this recording, and they really dive into the descriptions that you provide. If you would describe what your expansion plans look like. Do you have any really hot territories around the country that you'd like for us to help you fill?
Yes, and I don't know if we will for long, but we do right now. So, you know, our business really fits well with single family homes, townhomes, types of properties that you find on the urban edge or in the suburbs. So if we look at areas that have a tight concentration of single family homes, large sprawling suburban areas, those are the ones that are prime and are going to produce the highest revenue for our franchisees. So if we think about suburban Atlanta, Dallas, Fort Worth, Phoenix, Tampa, Orlando, um, Charlotte, um, Las Vegas, those markets in particular are going to be high revenue potential. So I'd say those are probably the best markets open for us right now.
Good. As you grow your brand across the country, do you anticipate any regional influences affecting your business model?
Well, there are states in which tenant landlord law is much stricter than other states. And in general, we find that less rental property owners are willing to self-manage their rentals in those areas. They're more apt to want to hand that off. So there's some regionality there for sure. For instance, you're going to have states like California or New York, where you're going to see tighter regulatory control. You're going to have a very large pool of folks looking for your services. Um, so, um, and again, we're looking really at that suburban and urban edge versus if we look in the middle, of Manhattan or these high-rise areas. Our system isn't so much built. Those large buildings they're managed by a different type of company, like a Greystar, BlackRock type company. We're looking there in those regions with, again, large amounts of single family homes, townhomes, duplexes, stuff like that in the suburbs.
Do you, or do the states that you work in the service, do you find that certain areas require specialized licensing for your franchisees?
Well, here's the thing. Pretty much every state requires that somebody engaging in property management activities has to have a real estate license. Now, I consider that a benefit. I think that's a good thing. That is a barrier to entry for folks who would potentially compete with our franchisees. So the fact that you got to have a real estate license, again, I like people to think of that. That's a good thing. Think barrier to entry. So yes, you will need a real estate license. We can talk you through that. That's probably not as high of a bar as some people think it is. But we will, help walk you through that process. And yeah, you will need that real estate license. Oh, Dave, you're still on mute. Sorry, David, I can't hear you. You're on mute.
I apologize, Tyler. I had a
Oh,
coughing spell there, and I didn't want that to distract you.
oh,
What I was trying to ask you when I went on mute is, what effects, if any, is the current economy having on whole property management, and any effects on the new franchise owners?
it's having an enormous effect. What's happening right now is people don't want to sell their homes. And there's two reasons why they don't. Number one, they got a 2.8% rate on it. And they realize that why would they sell that? They'll never get money that cheap again in their life.
Right.
Number two, they do want to sell, but they're not willing to sell at what today's market will get them. We're at higher interest rates. Um, and so people are listing their properties for sale with that 2022 price in mind, and they're not getting it or anywhere
Right.
close to it, and they're pulling those listings off. And do you know what's happening when they pull those listings off? They're renting the properties out, and they're not wanting to rent them out themselves because they're already out of state or they're it's overwhelming for them, so they hand it off. So we're seeing an enormous increase in rental stock across many cities. I'd say most metro areas in the U.S. For instance, today in our market here in the original location, there are 40,000 rental units available listed today in the Denver area, which is far above what we're used to seeing. And it's just a story of nobody selling, they're renting. So this is literally the best economic condition we can have with the most people looking for our services.
It just plays right into your business model, doesn't it? It's exactly
Right.
what you want.
That's
Um,
right.
Now we've talked about residential properties. Does your company work at all with commercial properties?
Now we don't train, the whole PM system isn't built around commercial property management. It's built around residential. However, a lot of our tools will work with in our tech stack, and our tool stack will work with commercial management. However, it is not in our training program. So when you come to training, we're solely talking about residential, but many Hopium franchisees will add commercial to their list of services.
Okay. And now that you are in your second year of actually franchising, are you forecasting any significant changes to your business model, say over the next 1 to 3 years or even beyond that?
No changes to our model. That whole PM system that I talked about, and I won't really go into that here because that's kind of our secret sauce that we want to share with new franchisees. This system that we've built, this way of doing business, this which is as much about the things that our franchisees are going to not do as it is about the things that they will do. And this tool stack is really solid, been honed over many, many, many years. So no changes there at all. We've got a great system that competes really well.
Okay, good. And I'll just take that as a good indicator. Uh, how do your franchisees most effectively scale their business year over year, while focusing on the business model itself? How do they grow it?
Well, the key, and this is a big part of the support and the training that we give our franchisees, is the way that we teach them and coach them and have their website built in order for them to rank on Google. So this, we call this SEO or search engine optimization. The the final result or the final destination we want to get each of our franchise locations to is on the first page of Google in their market. So
Right,
when somebody searches property management Dallas, our whole PM location has to be on that first page. And there are ways to get there. They're difficult. It's difficult to get there if you don't know what you're doing. So that's why many of our competitors, they've been in business for 20, 30, or 40 years and are still not on the first page of Google because they don't understand SEO. So their
right.
door counts stay very low. So we've got a way to get them there that's foolproof. It's proven. Before we get you there, there's other avenues that we teach our franchisees to get their door count going. Those are going to be naturally more labor intensive and involve some expense versus when we get them there to the destination of that first page.
Very good. Okay. Well, Tyler, I'm mindful of the fact that you have a hard stop at the bottom of the hour, and I want to respect that. So, as we wrap up today, first of all, thank you for being so thorough with your answers. That helps so much.
Absolutely.
I tried not to ask you yes or no question, so
Yeah.
you could expound a little bit on that. If there's one takeaway from this interview today that we haven't touched on, what would you want our viewers and the audience of this podcast to know about whole property management?
Well, I would say that the most powerful thing about our business is that when we think about almost any other business, and on day one of the month, how much is their revenue? Zero. They've made $0 that month. They got to start over. They got to sell more product. They got to book more appointments. That is not the case with whole property management. When we get to day one, our revenue is not zero. We've already signed these recurring agreements with owners where rather than starting at zero, we're adding doors and we're just compounding every month. So that is so powerful because once you sign on a we call it a door or a property, you're extremely likely to have that recurring revenue for many, many years to come. Our average client lifespan here in Denver is going on a decade. So as long as you do your job right, you follow the whole PM system, that revenue is recurring. So it's extremely powerful. I will also say we're seeing, we had a very hot housing market for a while that caused a lot of people to get into real estate, meaning get a license and become a realtor. So there's a lot of licensees out there that are not closing any deals right now because people aren't selling their homes.
Right.
And what those realtors are doing when they pull those listings is they're having to refer that client to a property management company because they don't do it. So a realtor, there is no more perfect potential franchisee for whole PM than a real estate agent. Absolutely perfect. They already have a license and they're literally referring their own business away. So they've got an internal source of potential clients requiring no outbound marketing whatsoever. So I'd say particularly for our FranServe organization to keep that in mind, that we want to get realtors, real estate agents across the country set up with a whole PM. My saying is if you're a realtor, you probably should have a whole PM because man, you get to supplement that sales commission income with recurring income every month. And it's just a powerful combination.
Well, you sold me, that's for sure. Thank you for explaining it the way you did. Tyler, I want to thank you for the privilege of your time today. This entire interview will be posted on the FranServe support site. It'll also be archived in the FranServe library. Of course, we're going to give you a copy of it too, Tyler. It'll also be uploaded to Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So a lot of the world is going to know about Whole PM that may not have met them or met you before. So I want to thank you again for your time today. And with that, we will adjourn today's podcast. Thank you, sir.